Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we are down at Preston Parkrun today here in Brighton. It is freezing, it's about -2 degrees. I'm going to be running in a jacket and the running tights today. Carla, are you going to be running in your fluffy jacket? You're all kitted out.
No, I don't think I'm going to be able to run in this.
But you got it for after, to keep warm?
Yeah, afterwards. I don't want to take it off though. It's really cold.
Yeah, it is absolutely freezing. We didn't know if it was going to go ahead today actually because of the ice. There is a bit of ice out and about, a bit of frost, but we saw the message up online and actually it said we'll be going ahead now. So we are down and ready to go. So in today's video I'm going to be thinking about the race I had recently, the Copthorne 50 miler, and just reflecting on it, thinking about some key tips off the back of it, some things that are important to remember if you're going out for long runs, or some kind of key lessons that I learned from that race. I'll share those a little bit later on after we get Preston Parkrun done. So we're all finished at Preston Parkrun and it was a beautiful morning for it. Lovely, absolutely freezing, but we also did have some sun in there as well. So yeah, very much sunglasses and woolly hat weather. So I thought I would reflect on how my recent race, the Copthorne 50, went. So that was a couple of weeks ago. Big thanks for everyone who watched the video, who liked and commented on it. And I'll pop the link below in case you want to have a look at it if you haven't already. But yeah, it was a tricky race. It was the hardest race I've done. 10,000 feet of elevation, a lot of steps in there. And generally since the race a couple of weeks ago, I've been kind of easing back into things. I've done, one run last week and then several runs this week, but just keeping it easy, keeping it short. I'm going to very much use December as a rest month and just kind of letting my body recover, get back into things before some exciting plans and races for next year. So I'm going to reflect here on like 5 key things really that I would take away from this, and these can be tips or things I bear in mind for the future, but hopefully they'll also help you with your running if you're thinking about doing an ultra or just reflecting on how to approach a long distance event. So here we go, 5 key things. So the first thing is to make sure you deal with issues as they arise. And I was generally pleased with how I did this on the day. So early on in the race, my shoes kept coming undone and I tied them up, did a double knot. There was a couple of times I needed the loo during the race, and rather than think, oh, I'll leave it a couple of miles, I went to the loo to make sure I'd be comfortable. Also my food options, so I made sure that I was reacting to how my stomach was feeling with things, using more liquids when I needed to, making sure that I wasn't pushing my stomach too much with the food I was taking. The second thing also relates to adjusting, but it's about adjusting your expectations if things start to go differently on the day. And with the Copthorne 50, I had a plan in the back of my mind to try and run each lap at roughly 2 hours. So it was a 10-mile loop and I ran it 5 times for the race. And I thought generally I'll go for about 2 hours per lap, and I'll see if I can come out with my A goal at the end, which would be sub 10 hours. So I hadn't actually stated this before in the video, but yeah, that was my thinking before going out and doing the race. I thought maybe I'll be able to get under 10 hours. In the only other 50 mile I've done, it was about 8 hours 40, but it was half the elevation. So I thought, on a very good day, maybe I could just nip under 10 hours. That didn't quite go to plan. After 3 laps, I was averaging 2 hours per lap. However, I started to have a bit of a dip in laps 3 and laps 4, and in the end I thought, no, actually I'll pull back a bit. I won't try and absolutely slog it for number 4 just to do a sub 2 hour lap, and I was pleased with that decision, because in the end I was able to finish the event. I didn't have any points where I majorly blew up. I did certainly have some dips, but in the end I was able to get to the finish line, which was the key goal for the day. So thing number 3 is to remember the ebb and flow of long distance events. You know, you're going to have highs, you're going to have lows, but you've got to roll with them. And this is something that I constantly try to remind myself as I'm doing ultras or long distance events, that yes, you're going to get those lows, but that doesn't mean that just because you've had a low early in the race that it's going to continue to get worse. Sometimes there's a bit of a myth about you hit the wall and then you can't go any further, but I have found that in ultras that you do get those low moments, but they can quite quickly go away too. So you have to remember that. You have to stick to having a positive mindset that things can get better. So thing number 4 is to make sure you're practicing with the food that you're going to use on the day. So nothing new on race day is the classic mantra that you often hear, and this goes for nutrition and food as well. So your stomach is nice and used to those foods and you are comfortable on the day with what you're eating, with how you're feeling. So in the lead up to the race, particularly in my longer runs, I was eating the sandwiches, the potatoes, the flapjacks, the crisps, all of those things that I was going to have on race day, and it served me pretty well. So my stomach generally felt good. About 6 or 7 hours into the race, my stomach didn't want to take on as much food as I'd planned to have before the day, so I had to adjust, and I went back to liquids. I had some very simple small bits but didn't push it too much, but overall I was very pleased with how nutrition went. So that is thing number 4. So make sure you're practicing with your foods before race day, and then nothing new on race day. Your stomach is just having all of the things it's used to already. So the final thing I'll take away from the Copthorne 50 was just about organising your pack. So on the day I was wearing a race vest, so my Harrier race vest, and I had various things in it. However, a couple of weeks before the event, I did think to myself about how in previous races I haven't liked having my GoPro up here, because it means that when you want to take a drink you kind of have to take it out. If you're trying to take foods out, it can be quite awkward. So actually what I did was I bought a belt. So I got this belt from Decathlon and it actually fits in my GoPro. So I put my GoPro in here, and it also has this bit here, so a little pouch which usually a bottle would go in. So it came with a bottle that you can put in there. However, I decided to switch it up. So on the bottom there's just this, so it means that stuff could fall out if you put it in there, which isn't a bottle. So what I did was I basically cut a bottle like that, and then that's in the bottom, and as I was going through the aid station I would take out my food and then pop it in there, and then I could just eat it as I go. I'd stuff it in there and then just have it there, really easily accessible. So that was one way I tried to organise my pack, and I imagine for most people they won't necessarily be taking out a GoPro, but having my GoPro separate was good for me, because it meant that it wasn't up here and I could get to my food and drink easily, and then I could also have the pouch in my waist belt and then take things out and eat them very easily as I go. You want to make it as easy for yourself as possible. I also made sure that the things in the back of my vest that I was unlikely to need, like the emergency kit, was at the bottom. So anything that you're going to need immediately you want to have up the top, so very easily accessible, or even in the pockets at the front. And then everything you think you're less likely to use at the bottom, because there's no point having it at the top if you're unlikely to use it. So that was the final thing that I'll take away. I was pleased with how I organised my pack, and it's definitely something that I'll carry into races in the future. So those are my key takeaways from the Copthorne 50 miler, my final race of the year. Hope you found those tips useful. If you've got any suggestions, then pop those in the comments below about any tips or key things that you like to bear in mind for long distance events. And thanks for tuning in. Have a good week, enjoy your running, and I'll see you all in the next one. Oh, we've got a dog invading the set. Hello.